Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope everybody is well. For those of you that are new to Soul Embers, my name is Andrea. I'm an intuitive tarot reader, coach, counsellor, and I practice alternative medicine. And of course, welcome back to all my existing subscribers. I appreciate your ongoing support. I'm so very grateful for it. Now Cancer, today I'm just going to let the cards fall as they need to, and I'm going to deliver the strongest message for you. But before we do that, and before we jump into it, I'd really like to share something with you. I'm hosting a discussion group and I'm preparing the content for that, and I felt really called to share a portion of that with my beautiful YouTube family. It's about acceptance, it's about our inner conflicts and our contradictions, and how we work through those feelings and thoughts. Hopefully, as we go into today's reading, it will offer a different perspective on how you approach different situations that may arise or that have arisen, and how you work through that inner conflict. Hopefully it'll take the edge off, right? Most importantly, the more we resist, the more we engage deeply with those thoughts that generate those emotions, the stronger that inner conflict becomes, right? And the more intense those emotions become as well. And that often causes us to become really stuck, or to overthink, or to catastrophize. So let me read it to you, and hopefully, it will open your mind to a different perspective. Like everyone else, my life is filled with contradiction. I support and respect traditional therapy and pharmaceuticals, and equally believe in the extraordinary healing power within our natural environment. I support science-backed research and studies, and equally believe in unfounded concepts relating to the profound power of our thoughts, energy, vibration, and the universal essence of life known as spirit, which connects all living organisms and animates us into existence. Mao Zedong, a Chinese leader and founder of the People's Republic of China, described existence as constant transformation and contradiction. Freud and other great minds of our time support similar concepts relating to this paradox of human nature. I am no stranger to constant contradicting thoughts and emotions. However, I've learned to accept my contradictions. I don't suppress, oppress, judge, shame, guilt, or resist them anymore. This approach caused nothing but pain, poor health, self-doubt, self-sabotage, a victim mentality, a lack of progress, and unhealthy relationships. I now run my inner world more like a democracy and less like a dictatorship. I choose the perspectives, thoughts, and actions I engage in and give my energy and time to. I gained more control of my life by releasing control of myself. And this is yet another contradiction, right? So in summary, we're constantly changing, impacted by our environment and those around us, and our contradictions keep us in check. They call us to clarify what matters, what we want, what we value, and where we invest our energy. The internal discussion they generate offers freedom of choice and an opportunity to live with intention. So, Cancer, as we go through today's reading, I call you to consider whether you're treating yourself, the different aspects of yourself. Are you allowing them to take space? Are you suppressing them? Are you treating yourself more like a dictatorship or more like a democracy? And how can you allow the parts that you control and that you criticize and you judge, how can you allow them to take more space so that you can take the edge off that inner conflict that's generated between that wanting, the desire that drives you to do certain things, and your critical thinking, the one that wants to uphold your standards, the one that wants to keep you safe, the one that wants to, wants you to step into the character of the person you really identify with. Okay, so let's jump into it and see what today's message is. Let's see who I'm connecting with, and what the message is for all the beautiful Cancers that I'm connecting with today. Pardon me. Okay, Cancer, what's going on? Fear. You know, fear will drive us to be overcritical of any type of creativity, of any type of inspiration, of any type of, desire that, pulls us to take certain risks when we can't predict what the outcome's going to be. Fear is definitely one of those, and this fear could be sourced in a traumatic experience. It's a constant reminder of a time where your safety, your security was at risk, where you were left exposed, vulnerable, you were humiliated, rejected. It just depends on your situation, and we never want to experience that again, right? And so we put up our defenses, and by doing that, we create our little bubble, our little safety net. And I'm sensing, Cancer, that at this particular time, you are trying to weigh up your options. You're trying to take calculated risks. There is something that you were drawn to. There is someone that you were pulled towards, that you want to invest more time in, or you're super curious about. It has your attention, and you are drawn to that. There is something there for you. However, there is this great fear that is holding you back from, taking that leap of faith, essentially. Taking the leap of faith with confidence that you have the tools that are needed to respond to any unforeseen situation that might arise, that will kind of keep you safe, you know what I mean? So I'm going to hold up the card for you, Cancer, so you can have a look at that. And I'm just having a look, and I'm seeing that, there is this facade that you are projecting to the world, and you can see the parts of how you communicate or how you show up with others that you would like to get rid of, right? It's not something that you particularly admire about yourself, and you find yourself, reflecting on conversations or a conversation, because this might have to do with a specific person and how you're showing up towards them, or this might have to do with you and how you show up with your, with your close knit group. So it's almost like you can reflect on certain behaviors that you engage in with them, or how you respond, and you're not particularly proud of it. You would like to instead show up with more grace, with a little bit more empathy maybe. Maybe you would like to be more objective. Maybe you don't want to get defensive and go down this path that ends up in an argument. Yet when you're in the situation, it's almost like those defenses are triggered and you slip into that unwanted behavior. And so we have this inner conflict that happens of how you want to deepen your connection, and you know what steps you want to take to deepen that connection or those connections. It could even have to do with your career and how you show up, within your team, right? So, yet when you're triggered, you find yourself responding in a way that protects that part of you, So I'm going to pull out a couple more cards here, Cancer. I want to get some more context for you and some guidance. This is really important. I'm sensing, Cancer, that yes, the person that is immediately impacted by this, that this has to do with, is important to you. But what's most important to you is the feelings of guilt or the feelings of shame that, that are developed when you respond in this way. You are becoming very critical of that part of you that you feel you can't control in the moment. And so you're trying to control, yet what seems to be happening is that is becoming more powerful because it's not, you're not leaning into it. You're not leaning into it, not in the moment, not in the heat of the moment, but after that, to really understand what it actually, what's its objective. You know, when you engage in an argument with someone, what is the objective of that? Is the objective of that to maintain a certain distance and express that you won't be taken advantage of, that you are not, you won't be manipulated? What is its objective? Okay, let me just pull out a couple more cards. Okay, yeah. I see what's happening here. You know, Cancer, I feel that this does have to do with stability. This does have to do with the life you envision. You know, the life you envision for your future. This has to do with a commitment, right? A commitment to trusting and collaborating with another person or with other people, let's say, to bring this together. And the thought that you're going to have to release the control, so and trust that the other person's going to show up as they need to and be your support and support the goal that you are both trying to set in motion is really scary. You know, you may have been in a situation where you gave it your all and you lost everything, and you're fearful of, you know, of that repeating itself. So when I look at this and I just think, you know, the universe is on your side. The universe is pushing you towards, you know, the next level, progressing you to emotionally level up. The problem here is that the only way you can do that is by taking a calculated risk. You know, otherwise you will continue repeating the same pattern. You will keep engaging in the same unwanted behaviors that you have become so critical of, right? That you no longer want to identify with. So this is a time for you to really make a change. This is a time for you to show yourself that things can be different. And you know, Cancer, if you find yourself slipping into those unwanted behaviors and not showing up in a way that you would like to, a really good exercise is to, you know, start this process off by selecting an area or a subject that you're not extremely emotionally invested in. Because you're not emotionally invested in, it might be easier for you to disengage and be more objective. And the more you know, as you go through that process, it will really show you will show yourself that you have the ability to make those calculated risks. This isn't like before. You have learned your lesson, right? And it will give you more confidence to take on, you know, the topics or the areas that you feel more emotionally invested in. So, you know, I'm just seeing here that because there is this element of commitment, and you're fearful of whether the other person is going to show up in a way that they say they will, there is a lot of doubt. It's creating a lot of doubt. And you might be starting to get really confused as to whether, this is your intuition trying to tell you something is wrong, or whether this is, you overthinking the situation, or whether it's all in your head. Okay, so there's a lot of confusion here. My suggestion for you this week, Cancer, is when you find yourself in a situation where you're triggered, if you can recognize it, instead of responding to the matter at hand, respond to the emotion that you're feeling. If you feel safe enough to, if you are in the process of deepening a connection to this degree where you're about to take the next step into a commitment, then I would imagine that you feel comfortable enough to speak up in that moment and just say, I'm feeling a lot of discomfort and uneasiness right now. And just leave it. Leave it. See how the other person responds. When you express that, if it could come from a place of honesty rather than a place of defense, I'm feeling really uneasy and uncomfortable about this conversation, that will likely engage the other person in defense as well. That could be a good start, because you're ultimately working through, you're actually breaking in that moment. You're breaking the narrative, right? You'll break, even if the conversation starts to get a bit heated and it resorts in the usual, you've still taken that initial step to shift that narrative. And the more you do that, the more this block, or the more this defense mechanism will start to fall away. The more you'll engage in conversations that bring you together rather than push you apart and create even more inner conflict. Okay guys, I hope you found that helpful. Comment below if you feel comfortable. What is one area that you feel a lot of inner conflict with, and how do you work through that? And what do you find challenging? I would love to hear from you. Your comments, they actually help me connect with your energy, and I use your comments to determine your future readings as well. Have a great week, Cancer. Bye.